time for a 9B garden tour. Hey everybody, it's your lovely Lotus Blossom Lizzie and your lovely lazy Lotus Blossom Lizzie, and I'm going to give you a full tour today. There's a few things that I'd like to note that has happened since this whole week has come about. And one thing is we got this sandstorm that came from the Sahara Desert, and so y'all, it's hot and muggy, but the plants are still okay. So this is my front yard, and I have some kale here, which is starting to grow very beautifully, and also some Swiss chard. Now I had these growing in some shade, but they were under a tree which has since been cut back, and so they are in full sun for most of the day, and they are absolutely loving it, and I can't believe it. I didn't think that they would grow as well as they have, so I'm really excited. I've actually been eating some tidbits of both in my salads and just sauteing it up, and I'm enjoying it. And this is what I call my generational plant, and it is loving being outside. I had it inside and it was kind of growing kind of sparsely, but now, y'all, it smiles at me every time we go in and out the door. So the garden, it looks kind of dreary outside, and that's because it's a bit cloudy right now. Still hot as all get out, but very cloudy. And over here is the infamous bucket garden. And it just has some bell peppers in here, which seems to be a bit stunted. They don't seem to be growing too good in this spot. And these are some miracles. Y'all, look at all the leaf miners are all over this plant. But you know what? I'm just gonna let the leaf miners do their thing. I'll probably end up cutting some of those branches off. And like I said, the bell peppers, they're not really liking it too much. They're in some pretty sandy dirt, and I did give them some fertilizer, but they don't seem to be thriving in that spot. So I did make a few changes. I moved some things around like I always do. And this is my zucchini plant, and y'all, I have gotten like two really nice yellow, I said zucchini, but this is squash. I've gotten two really nice yellow squash, and that squash that you see there is dying off. I've had quite a few squash that have died off of this plant, but I've gotten two, so, and the leaves are really yellow, and I think I overwatered it, so we'll see. Here is a trellis that I made off a tree that got cut down. I used some of the branches. I mean, why not? Why go out and buy, stakes when you have some trellises? And these are some Chinese long beans, and I decided to see if I can get them to go up this beautiful homemade trellis that I made. And those sticks are all the way down in that 5-gallon bucket, so they should not break or bend. And I have 5 bean plants in here. I don't think I had this planted on the last video, so you can see just in a few days, this beans they go crazy. They go bananas. And here is a melon plant, and it's doing lovely. And these are some transplanted bell pepper plants, the same as the ones you saw in the other garden. And they are getting some blooms on them. Well, they have some buds at this moment, so I suspect they're going to be trying to make some fruit pretty soon. And here are some more contender beans. I decided to go ahead and plant some more beans, and I'll talk a little bit more about that later. And also I have some basil. This is basil lettuce that I got from Baker's Creek, and I want to see how it's going to grow. I may have to put this in a shaded area, but for now it's doing okay. And my borage has popped up, and I just found out that borage is a cold winter crop, but we'll see how that goes. I'm all about experimentation. And then my radishes, you can see one side I've eaten all the radishes there, so I'll pull them up as I need them. And then the buckets in the back are my potato plants. Now, I'm a little bit disappointed about this container. It has some cosmos, zinnias, and some nasturtiums. And they're just, I don't know, some of them just didn't come up, and that looks dry, but it's actually very moist. So we'll see what happens in the next few weeks. And then this is the zucchini plant, and y'all, I'm excited because finally I've had all male flowers coming to the party, but now I finally have a female, one female coming up. You can see over on the left here, and she's about to open up and accept her male counterpart pollen. And then I should have some zucchini, so I'm excited about that. You see I have 4 plants, no zucchini just yet. And then my watermelon plant, y'all. You see the watermelons, the baby watermelons on there? They are going up the trellis, and every day I help them to get pollinated. So we have our little threesomes, and the leaves are turning a little bit yellow on the bottom. I don't know if that's normal. I don't know if it's from overwatering. I'm going to give everything a good feeding of fertilizer today. Maybe a little bit later when it's a little bit cooler, but y'all look at this. Now take note of the color of this watermelon as opposed to these over here. I'm wondering if there was some seeds mixed up in this particular packet, because these melons look very different, but they came from the same packet, and they're supposed to be sugar baby watermelons. So if y'all have any comments on that, I would love to know. I actually have 4 plants inside of this container, so I don't know how well they're gonna do, because first of all, I should have put more dirt in that container, and next, I don't know if I should have put that many plants in there, but y'all know me. It's all an experiment for me. So hopefully everything will go well, but I really want to know if I have 2 different watermelons. And then we have my little boot garden here with my sunflowers in there. And then we have supposed to be some wildflowers here, but y'all, they're just taking forever to come up. And I have one little zinnia down there. And then I have my okra plants, and they're looking quite lovely. There's still nothing to see here, but I will say that the okra plants attract the ants that bring in the aphids. So I noticed every morning I have to wash off aphids off the bottom of the leaves. So y'all look at the watermelon. That doesn't look like a sugar baby watermelon, does it? But anywho, so now we're here to my little nursery under my dream trellis, and there's a lot going on in here, and I need to do a lot of transplanting and move things out, but y'all, it's just been too hot. I cannot get outside to do anything. But the carrots are looking lovely. Of course, I've watered things, so stuff is laying down. And on my tomato plant, you can see at the top we have some buds, so I suspect these are going to be making some tomatoes pretty soon. And these are Husky tomato plant transplants. They don't look like transplants, but they have been transplanted, and they are looking quite lovely. I'm trying not to make the same mistakes on these plants as I did on the other ones. And in here, my chamomile is growing quite nicely. It's all nice and fuzzy. Y'all like playing with my leaves. And then we have some dill here, and it's looking great as well. Fantastic. And then some of the other things like mint. This is peppermint, and I pulled it out of another spot of my garden and put it here because it took forever to come up. And then these are all tomato plants that need to be transferred, and they'll be needing a home pretty soon. So I've been thinking on what I'm going to do with those. We have the Comfrey Plants, and they are looking lovely. I'm excited about those. I bought those on eBay, and I'll be putting them all over the place in my little bubble gurgle fountain because there's no sun right now. And here are some more of the pepper plants. You know, I planted all these bell pepper plants at the same time. So you can see it's a big difference. These are doing the best, and I think because they're under the trellis. And then you can see my cowpeas. They are going all the way up the trellis. And I am actually starting to see pods on here. The pods are starting to form and they almost look like part of the stems, but you can see here, look at that. You can see like the little bumps on there. And something else I noticed is that the ants are seriously attracted to this plant as well. And I'll show you here. You can see where the ants are farming the aphids on the plant. And so I need to just get those off. So every day I just give it a shot of water and get the aphids off. And here's the other side of the trellis and my other 2 okra plants. And again, still nothing to see here yet, but I did have to wash some of the aphids off. And hello there, Mr. Gnome. Mr. Gnome is so cool. I like my gnomes. And in the middle in this orange bucket is some melons as well. And I'm going to be training those to go up the trellis as soon as they get their all their viney parts. And I think they'll do well on this trellis. I had to move some of the shade cloth. So we'll see how things on the inside do once I have to move that shade cloth. And then my zinnias, still no blooms yet. And y'all, this plant was so thirsty this morning. It was kind of weepy, but I gave it some water. And y'all, look in there. Shh, don't make any noise. We got the bees are at work. So it makes me happy to see the bees because I actually haven't seen any bees for a few days. And I was like, where are my bees at? But they're still here. And even though the sun's not out, they're still out hunting and gathering. Now with the sunflowers, I have to say, oh, and look, y'all, there's a green bee. I had to look those up because I'd never seen those before. And those are orchard bees. Now with the sunflowers, I have to say, in a way, I was a little bit disappointed with them. I don't feel like they got to their girthiness as far as their stems, and I had to kind of hold things up, and the leaves look terrible. Y'all look at this one. I think it has spider mites. I actually pulled some of these up. I did lots of deadheading, and I don't know, but I have a whole nother crop of these coming up, and I've actually gathered seeds, so I have to be happy about that. You know, it's a sunflower. I'm just gonna start dropping sunflowers every place. And here is a Rhonda Denise squash plant, and I planted this probably about a week and a half ago maybe, and it's doing very well. And y'all look at this ginormous marigold plant, and you can see how it's growing. It actually got knocked over in a storm and it started growing like this. But y'all look, I got blooms. Y'all know, if you've been watching my videos, you know I get excited about the blooms. So we finally got some blooms on all of the marigold plants, and I'm still planting more marigolds, but this particular pack I'm not going to be planting with other plants, y'all. This is my little banana bell pepper plant that has been hiding under one of the marigolds. I actually transplanted it from another location. And then on this trellis here, I have a few cucumber plants, and I'm gonna have to talk about the cucumber plants on another video because it's too much. And this is some cowpeas as well that are growing on here. I succession planted those, so they're quite smaller than the other ones. And there's not a lot going on the cucumber plants right now. I think it's just too hot because we've been in like 95 degree upwards weather, and that's Fahrenheit. And so it's been those cucumbers are struggling, but we'll talk about those on another video. And then here's some more of my ginormous marigolds. Y'all look how big these things are. I'm gonna have to like stand next to them so you can really see how big they are, but the blooms are quite lovely. So I love the fact that I have the blooms because I wanted to attract more bees. And so we did that, of course, with all of the blooms that are on the cucumber plants. However, like I said, the plants, I have gotten quite a few cucumbers off, but I find that I get a few cucumbers and then the plant kind of goes dormant. And then it doesn't have any, that's my eggplant, by the way. It's getting really big. And then I find that on the cucumber plant, things just, I don't know, things are just not growing very well. And that's water sitting inside of the eggplant. Let's just move off of the cucumber plant, because like I said, it's so much that I've learned with cucumber plants. I'll have to do a separate video on those. And y'all, I love this particular sunflower because it had multiple heads, and it has been just growing like very, very well. I love it. And in the inside here, we have another ginormous marigold plant. And my banana plant was actually sitting underneath this humongous, ginormous monstrosity. And y'all look at all the blooms on here. And you can see more blooms are going to be coming pretty soon. So I'm loving that. So right now, that's the only thing in that 5-gallon bucket is the marigolds. And then I moved my bean plant. This is a Contender bean plant, and it's the only one that is still alive right now. It has some sun scald on it, and I think it was nitrogen deficient, and I don't know. And then of course, y'all look at this plant. Y'all look at this Husky tomato plant. It is hanging on for dear life, and I have probably gotten about 30 tomatoes off of each of these plants this week. They are putting out tomatoes like crazy. They look absolutely terrible, but they are still heavy producers. And so I'm going to keep them until their last tomato. They are indeterminate Husky tomatoes, and so they're going. There's a little cucumber hiding back there. And I have got the cucumber worm infestation as well. So, you know, just all kind of things going on with those. Y'all, did y'all see that ant? He's hiding in there. He saw me. He was like, oh, don't look at me. I don't want you to see me. And you can see here up under this cucumber plant on the trellis, that little green smoochy stuff there. That's from a cucumber worm that has invaded. And I don't know if you can see here, there is like some droplets from that cucumber, and that's how I knew the worms had invaded. And on my bell pepper plant, y'all look at that beautiful red bell pepper. I left this on here, and it is still turning. On the other side, it still has some green, so I'm going to leave it just a little bit longer. And I have harvested one red off of here and a few green ones. So this is a very nice productive plant. Look at that green one hiding in there. They're just hiding all tucked in here. This was a lovely plant. It's very healthy and it's still putting out lots of bell peppers, which is good because I eat bell peppers and everything. And then of course I keep saying I'm going to take my carrots out, but I haven't, and I don't know when I will. And the cucumber plant, it looks okay, but it's not okay. And then hello morning glories, good morning. My morning glories here are turning yellow at the bottom, and I think it may be an overwatering issue. And there's Gandalf in there, of course. He's the protector of the morning glories. So I'm not sure what's going on with the morning glories. I did take some of the leaves off of here, but they're still kind of yellowing. But as you go up the plant, you can see it has some sun scald as well. Y'all, the sun here it ain't a game. And it really affects the plant production. So even though I'm new to gardening, I'm a baby gardener, but I can see that it really affects everything. And here is the cucumber plant that I put in the ICU. And it's doing fine as well. It does have a little bit of damage from probably, I don't know, something was eating on it, but it's still doing pretty good on this little trellis that I made. It's getting flowers, so we'll see how it does back here. And then I also have 2 melon plants that I put back here to go on this trellis as well. and they are doing just fine. They have a little bit of leaf miner damage, but y'all, I decided not to let the leaf miners like drive me crazy. I pull some leaves off, I do some pinching, you do what you can when it comes to the leaf miners. I'm just trying to keep them from getting a foothold in the garden. But overall, everything is looking quite beautiful. I'm still learning a lot. I still do like tons of research on the plants that I'm putting in. I'm learning as I go because, you can research all day long on something, but until you like actually go ahead and plant it and see how things do in certain locations and if they need shade and what bugs are attracted to it, sometimes you're just not going to get all the information that you need until you actually just get your hands dirty and plant things. And y'all let me know what you all think about the watermelons. I still think I have 2 different varieties of watermelons, although I only have one watermelon packet, and that is Sugar Babies, because that watermelon over here does not look like a sugar baby, whereas the other ones do, because there's 4 plants there again. So I'm excited for the week that is coming up. Don't forget to subscribe and also hit the notification bell so that you'll be notified when the videos come up. Remember, we are covering 2 channels here. Well, not 2 channels, but 2 types of gardens. Bobby has the 5B garden and I have the 9A garden. So every week we post up our garden tours, and you can kind of see what you can grow in your own garden and also see the progress that we're making. Go back and look at some of the older videos and you'll see things are growing really fast. So I'm just going to go ahead and say thank you everybody for coming on. I'm glad to have you as part of our community. So we'll talk to you next week. Bye.